Welcome, everyone, to our Power Thinking, rejuvenating your amazing mind training for Wednesday. It is July the 1st, 2026. This is our 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time edition, and I'm your moderator, Stanley Green. Always a pleasure to be before you, and we are just a few days away from the 250th anniversary of the United States. You go to other countries, and we're talking thousands of years that they've been in existence, and the United States just 250 years. The crazy thing about it is, I was around and you guess my age, when the 200th, the bicentennial, was in full force, and blink of an eye, and it's 50 years later, and we're talking about 250. So we hope that you all travel safely, that you have an enjoyable holiday weekend with family and friends as we are here for this milestone celebration and milestone anniversary. But what continues to happen, regardless of celebrations and holidays, we hope that you stay cool with this weather as you're traveling and you're going outdoors. Just be very, very safe in many parts of the United States, at least. There's some really, really, hot weather and very record-breaking, some record-breaking temperatures out there. The heat indexes are, over 100 in many places, and so be very, very careful. Right. So, of course, our job is, heat is an adversity. So we need to be prepared for that. There are folks that, may get anxious or, may be angry about the weather. These are emotions that we certainly have to be, keep in check. And so, of course, we want to be prepared for whatever the adversity. There are other parts of the country and the world that are having extreme challenges. There's tornadoes and hurricanes and wildfires. These are the things that can happen at any time. I spoke with a few people in Nigeria, and this is the rainy season. And we're talking about a season. We're talking about months, with June through August, September, where they're experiencing significant amounts of rain, and you have to deal with that, and there may be flooding and so forth. So, and people find ways to bounce back and not get too down about it. In Seattle, in the western part of the United States, it rains a lot and it's cloudy a lot. There's China, where in Beijing, for example, you can't even see the clouds, because of the amount of smog. It is just really, really thick, and it looks like you're in a science fiction movie. So there's all kinds of things going on at all times around the world. There may be people, like the United States is playing football, worldwide is football, soccer to folks in the United States. It's the World Cup. A team's going to win, a team's going to lose. So there are going to be people that are going to be very, very upset when they lose and challenged to control their emotions. So with everything going on, it's important for us to retrain our brains and to make sure that we are understanding how important it is to keep our emotions in check, to be able to avoid depression when there's something that's really getting to us, and to be able to bounce back and move forward. So tonight we were expecting to have a brand new Power Thinking member, a mobile app user, Michael Rivers, but a little setback, family health issue that he's helping a family member with. And I said, look, you do that. We don't want you to do this tonight. We'll do it at another time. It's no big deal. I do it, by myself all of the time. So Michael will be joining us in the future, and we'll be having another member who just joined us today out of the Midwest, who will be, co-hosting with us. So as we get new members in, we'll give them the opportunity, if they'd like to do it, to co-host with us. So we appreciate your involvement as we do this, and as we grow the Power Thinking member base. Feel free to share that Power Thinking app. And if you're not on the app yet, have any questions about it, certainly let me know. I'll help you through it. We're really excited about the growth, and as we share it with people, how receptive folks have been about what we're doing, how we're, helping, particularly the helpers, people who are helping other people who need, at times, they need to get a boost, a Power Thinking boost, and need to get these skills down and build their strengths. Person that said that I could use a quote that she had. She actually sent me via text, and it was she said yes, and it was the last 2 weeks were really a challenge. Were really challenging. Thank God for the Power Thinking app, and I think, okay, this is what we are looking for, and this person happens to help other people, when it comes to therapy and talk therapy. So we're really excited that we're there not only to help, the general public, but the people who are helping members of the general public like yourselves. And we certainly appreciate you. So today we focus, and tonight we focus on Power Thinking resilience skill number 3, which is detecting icebergs, those deep-rooted, long-held beliefs that we have that could be holding us back. And it's important that we are aware that we may have beliefs that are holding us back, and that we take action to ensure that we are not only aware of them, but we're taking action to challenge those beliefs. I want to say hello to a few folks who have joined us on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Gladys Bryce, good to see you. She says, hello, Stanley Green and everyone. Thank you for being with us. We have from YouTube, joining us on YouTube, Layla Llewellyn. Good evening, Power Thinkers. Thank you for joining us on YouTube, Layla. And of course, we have our folks on the phone lines. We can't see all the names now because we are in our Q&A mode. And I see it's Konshinka. Thank you very much for joining us. And feel free to let us know where you're joining us from as well. So again, appreciate you all joining us as we focus on iceberg beliefs. The video we shared was detecting icebergs. So go to YouTube if you haven't seen the video. Certainly make sure you get the Power Thinking Corp app, because we share the videos for Wednesday on a Tuesday night. This video is about 5 minutes long, but very powerful. We've shared it in the past, and basically, I'll share with you basically what was going on in the video. So there was a couple. At least one was, the female was in the Army, and she was on her way to work. She stopped at the gym first, and so as they were walking out to kind of say their goodbyes for the day, and I love you, a smile and kiss, and everybody's positive. She actually went to the car, to travel to the gym, which is her first stop, before going into the job. So she gets in the car and she's feeling good. You see the smile on her face, and then she puts the key in the ignition and turns the key and notices that the gas indicator, the red line that usually goes when you turn on the ignition, and it goes from E to whatever level it is, where there's a full tank or quarter or half or whatever. In this case, when she turned the ignition, it didn't move from E. It was on E, where they left it the night before. Her expectation was that her husband, would fill the tank and it would be ready. I know that's what I do with my wife. I'll put the gas in the tank. When we were in New Jersey, she didn't have to worry about it, because they actually would pump your gas. But in Pennsylvania, and we're now in Pennsylvania, They don't, and you have to get out. So therefore, I do it all the time. So there's an expectation that if it's low, I'm going to feel it. Well, in this case, it didn't happen. In the case of our couple in the video, it didn't happen. So when she saw the indicator on E, her mood changed. Everything changed, and she went from positive, looking forward to a really great day, to being angry. And when there's anger, remember we have these five big negative emotions, and anger is basically this belief that someone violated your rights, that you feel you have the right to have. In her case, she felt that she had the right to have that thing filled when she was, headed to the gym, and perhaps she was, pressed for time, and now that she had to put, gas in the tank, so she got out of the car and went to her husband and immediately started to berate him, to say, hey, you know. Um, I have to do everything. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I'll feel it like I have to do everything in this relationship. So think about it. And he's not feeling too well, feeling a little embarrassed, lost some standing. Where she would have put her husband up on a pedestal. Well, that's embarrassment. They get a loss of standing, and there may be some sadness about it, and maybe a little anger as well on his part. How dare you, do this, violate my right to have some peace. And maybe some anxiety. Okay, what's going to happen next? So, all these negative emotions that actually could have been totally avoided. And that's what power thinking is all about, recognizing and helping you to recognize that you have the power to avoid these big negative emotions. And there are five, as I mentioned. There is anger, and that is the belief that someone violated your rights. There is guilt, and that's the belief that you violated someone else's rights. There's just sadness, and that's just a pure loss of a loved one, loss of health, loss of a job, um, loss of a contract. If you're an entrepreneur, so there's usually sadness associated with that. The next is embarrassment, and that's a loss of standing in a group. And then finally, the big one that significant number of people around the world experience almost on a daily basis, and that's some form of anxiety, and that's the fear of a future threat. So our goal with power thinking is to get stronger in 7 areas. And detecting icebergs is a skill that helps us get stronger in those 7 areas, at least a few. The first is that emotion regulation, that ability to stay calm under pressure. And then there's impulse control, the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. Now, think about our couple in the video, and feel free to hit that *6 if you have any comments about the video, what you got out of it. Many of you have seen this video before. It's my favorite when it comes to detecting icebergs. I try to find, some new ones, but especially since our co-host this morning was a veteran of the military and had gone through this training, as administered by the University of Pennsylvania's folks, and the folks that actually created, the 6-hour online courses that we acquired when we acquired a company that they consulted. Um, that's why I wanted to go with that video, because it was made for that purpose, for the U.S. Army. And I see Leona Martinson. Good evening, Stanley. Thank you, Leona, for joining us. So guys on the phone lines, feel free to hit that *6. Love to get your thoughts about that video, about that situation. So there were 2 things. And Carla, I see you, and we'll get to you. Emotion regulation. So obviously she was not calm. And it's tough to be resilient when you're flying off the handle. And so the emotion actually triggered an associated action, and that is the impulse. Impulse control is key, in resilience. There are many people who are incarcerated today because of a lack of emotion regulation and a lack of impulse control. In her case, she got out of the car and she did, the first thing that came to mind, which is really go after a husband for not filling that gas tank. So empathy, the ability to understand a person's experiences and emotions. Well, instead of asking, "Hey, what happened?" And maybe feeling that perhaps something happened where he forgot what was going on with him, that he may have forgot. He may have been stressed out for, what he had and just totally forgot to do it. And actually, he did apologize and said, "Oh, I'm sorry," but it was too late. So she didn't have empathy. She didn't have emotion regulation. She didn't have impulse control. Didn't have empathy. And there's the self-efficacy, the belief that you have control over your ability to succeed. Now, what do you think happened there in terms of her empathy? How about her optimism, the view that all things, including a relationship, is going to have a positive outcome? How about the causal analysis, getting to the root cause? And then how about reaching out for help? Those are the 7 inner strengths. And of course, our skills that help us build those strengths are learning the ABCs, the relationship between the adversity, the belief about the adversity, and which drives the consequence, one of those 5 big negative emotions. There's avoiding the thinking traps, like jumping to conclusions. Do you think she jumped to conclusions after she saw that the gas tank was empty? There's externalizing, blaming others, right? There's minimizing the positives that may be going on in the relationship, magnifying the negatives. He doesn't put the toilet seat down, and he doesn't do a good job of shopping when I give him a list. Those kinds of things. There's mind reading, thinking that you know what the other person's thinking, or expecting them to know what you're thinking. So there were all kinds of thinking traps that she may have been falling into there. And of course, detecting the icebergs. That's another awareness skill. And she needed some help in detecting, these deep rooted beliefs that were underlying, those actions and those thoughts that she had. There's challenging the beliefs, pushing back on them, which probably happened when she got home and she was in a better place. Start talking about it, maybe challenging her own beliefs about their relationship. There's putting things in perspective. The 3 good things before going to bed, as opposed to dwelling on the fact that he didn't fill the gas tank, and being grateful first thing in the morning. There's calming and focusing that didn't happen there. She didn't take those deep breaths in the moment. And then there's real time resilience. So we wanted to give you that framework, the inner strengths, the skills, again, with the focus tonight on putting things in perspective. Feel free to hit that *6. Love to get your thoughts about what we just mentioned. If you've ever been in that situation where you may have jumped to conclusions about something, and or there may have been some deep rooted beliefs that you had to really uncover. And we'll go to Carla Hill. Carla, thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about detecting icebergs. Welcome.
It's Amy calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is one of my favorite videos. Also, just in terms of the quality,
Yeah.
the full story, and yeah, I've been in that situation a lot. But because of power thinking, just learning to be that practitioner in the past probably year, 18 months, I've implemented quiet time in the morning. Most mornings, 30 minutes of sitting down and just like it sounds, quiet times. I think that it helps me become a practitioner of just starting the day off calm. And another tool, and your guest was great this morning. Also, the new Power Thinking member.
Yes, Will Marie.
Yes. What's her name?
Will Marie Boisbert.
Yes, Will Marie.
Yeah.
So yes, just share her experience. The example, anybody that has sons, daughters, or aunts, uncle, because you always think children are just out for their basic needs at the time. And she gave a great example where, her daughters were calling her and they were in the car. She's like, oh, they're going to ask me to do something. but it was something like "I love you, mom" or something.
Yes, yes. He just wanted to tell her they loved her.
Yes, yes. So it's, but I think what I learned from the video also, and awareness, like you said, is an awareness skill. But I also move towards how can I implement that practice, right?
Yes,
And and stuff you're feeling that's not appropriate either. But pausing, and power thinking in the framework talks about like root cause analysis. Okay, is this really about me or is it about them?
hmm,
Giving them just to cool it down. And most people are not really thinking about you. They might be thinking about you for a few seconds,
hmm,
but really something going on internal. So if we just give it some space, that seems to help.
yes,
And the other thing, this morning, maybe talked about surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, right?
yes,
To encourage and to affirm those habits that we are trying to implement. So, very good content, and like I share it with everybody that's around me that there's not an absence of content or information. It's the gap with implementation, right?
sure.
So thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you, Carla, as always. Really appreciate you and your great perspectives. So yes, this is huge, folks. Uh, Challenging those beliefs, but first detecting, being aware of those iceberg beliefs. On the First of all, we have Pollyanna Hardy who says hello. Thank you for joining us, Pollyanna. Really appreciate it. And Gladys is saying, giving a shout out to Leona, fellow members, and we really appreciate you for signing up with us, Gladys. Thank you very much. And but going to our chart here, we have a graphic. So when you get a chance on your app, we'll have the recording up within about 15 minutes after this ends, so you can check out the graphic that we have tonight. We have a different graphic this morning in honor of our co-hosts, which got this training with the U.S. Army. We were sharing a graphic that actually came from the Army. It said detecting icebergs and talked about their master resilience training is what they called it. But in this graphic, we actually show the iceberg where, we have above the water, behaviors. We talked about, those emotions and how people communicate. And then below the surface is what you have where you have the beliefs, and that particular part of the iceberg is typically much bigger than what you see above the surface, and the goal is to drill down to what is seemingly invisible by asking a simple question. So, in the case of the gas tank being on E and being empty, uh, which triggered the anger, in our young lady. The question, and remember, when she got to the gym, there was a person on the treadmill next to her, and could see that she was really upset. Asked her what was happening, and she, of course, unloaded and said, "Hey, my husband didn't fill the gas tank up, and he always does this, and he never puts the toilet seat down, and he doesn't complete the shopping task as he should, and so she just went on and on." And, the person on the other treadmill said, "Well, that's what men do," thinking that she was being helpful. And she really wasn't. So here it is now, that one incident, is now affecting her workout. And chances are, had she continued into the workplace with that, would affect her work. But she went to the kind of the yoga area, and there was a person that was in that treadmill area that overheard them, and she had a different view. And so when they got to the yoga area, this other person, actually asked, "Hey, what was going on? You seem like you're really upset." And then she went on about, what her husband doesn't do. And so the question she asked to help drill down to the iceberg belief, the deep rooted belief was, so what about, the empty gas tank makes you angry? And then she went on about, other situations, and then she kept drilling down. So what does that mean? That you doesn't put toilet seat down, and they got to the root cause, and the root cause was basically, well, not the root cause, but the iceberg belief, the belief that she had, the deep rooted belief that she had ultimately was that husband really didn't care, and her husband took her for granted, and it wasn't like that at the beginning. So hey, well, who hasn't gone through that, right? Um, However, that was an opportunity, and so the last question that was asked was, well, you know, have you talked about this? Have you shared with him what you're thinking and what you're believing about the relationship? Maybe talk about it. And that's what happened. She was more calm when they got home. She was in a better mood, and they were ready to talk about it. Now, how many times do we have in relationships where, if you're not getting that counsel and folks are not reaching out to you, you're not reaching out to them to get advice, these, kind of steam for days and maybe even weeks. And it could escalate and lead to something that where you're separated all of a sudden, and then it's over. Um, it happens many times as we speak. There are couples that are not speaking to each other. There are colleagues not speaking to each other. There are siblings not speaking to each other because of something that, if they would have drilled down to the iceberg belief that was driving it all, it can all go away. We have this going on with conflicts of war, right? Where they're trying to figure out how to come together. So it happens on every level. What are the iceberg beliefs? Drill down, detect them, and then it's time to begin to challenge those beliefs. So I want to thank you all for being with us. I see who else just joined us. Olu, it's early in the morning, early Thursday morning for you in Nigeria and joining us on YouTube. We appreciate you joining us. Remember, folks, we have our powerful Power Thinking app. And so it is powerful because of its simplicity. We're not overwhelming you with a whole bunch of functionality. In fact, we took a couple of things away because, number one, they were very costly and folks weren't using them as much. But the key is, sending you throughout the course of the day negative thought busting push notifications. First, with our Power Thinking Boost in the morning, you're getting it 7 days a week, positive quote that gets you to think. And so you're not dwelling on any negative or maybe something that may have happened with a significant other or with a boss, but you'll be focusing on the positive. In the afternoon, we're sending you a, a positive affirmation. And and then typically later on, it's a financial tip or a micro lesson on detecting icebergs or one of our thinking traps or taking deep breaths, calming and focusing. So you're going to get, as opposed to just once a week where we get together and you get the reinforcement, you're getting that reinforcement on a daily basis. And you'll have the opportunity to take an assessment on the app as well. 8 a.m. every day on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Facebook. You'll have the opportunity to see a replay of the demo for 30 minutes, 8 a.m. Eastern time to 8:30, and then again 8 p.m. every day. Every day, we're replaying that on 5 platforms. Tune in to LinkedIn, to YouTube, and take advantage of what's there. Now, I apologize. I have Greg on the line, and we are at 10. So those of you who have to leave, thank you so much for joining us. Make it a happy 4th. And remember, since we spend all of our time thinking, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. I'm going to go to Greg Jones. Greg, thanks for your patience. I didn't see you there for a while until I went back to say goodbye to everyone. I want to make sure we get you in, let everybody know where you're joining us from, and your thoughts about detecting icebergs. Welcome.
Hey, good evening, Stan. Good evening, Power Thinking family. And I've been listening on the calls for a while, so I just wanted to chime in on a couple of things.
Sure.
One is, if anyone has ever found the parent, how to be a good parent, or the parent manual, please send it to me. The second thing is, if anyone has the relationship manual, a copy of it, I'll take a copy of it, I'll take an email of it, whatever form you want to send it to me, I want to receive that as well, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so those icebergs and those stories and that video, I mean, one of the things we have to really be, I guess, careful of, if you can, conscious of things that trigger you. And if you don't identify the things that trigger you, and you talked about earlier, anger management, how so many people are in places right now that they don't want to be in because of their lack of discipline and their inability to control their anger. And they get enraged. And just that 1 to 2 to 4 minutes of anger and rage, the damage that it can do. And then the last thing is, this is something that was preached about on Sunday, is the tongue. The book of James really gives, is a tremendous resource. Book of James in the Bible, tremendous resource on how to regulate your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Because the tongue can be very, very detrimental and very, very damaging,
Mm-hmm.
If it's not utilized in the right way.
Yeah.
As my friend and brother from Winston-Salem, Calvin Patterson, would say, I am complete.
Wonderful. Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate it. I think Calvin may be on. So we're going to go to our folks on the phone lines, and we'll at least say goodbye to a few of them by name. Well, thank you all for being with us. So as Leona Martin said on, finished with on LinkedIn, happy 4th of July, everyone, the 250th. Really appreciate you all for being with us. Carla and Claudia, good to see you. I see wireless caller. Gloria Hairston, good to see you. Calvin Patterson, Greg just referenced you. Good to see you. Layla Llewellyn, Bill Peterson, Greg Jones, Doug Sidoti. Thank you all for being with us. Many others. Have a great 4th of July. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Goodbye.
And here on our 5 platforms, thank you all so much. Happy 4th. Thanks, Leona. I see Pollyanna saying happy 4th as well. Take care. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, since we spend all of our time thinking, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. Take care, folks.